Wow, you can really tell things are not going good in Boston. But alas, we have a relatively trade rumor. See, I don't know when Elliot Friedman says things like this, if he actually believes it's a rumor or maybe he heard something and he's just leaking something out. But yes, Elliot Friedman, during his 32 Thoughts podcast, which is, by the way, one of the best podcasts around, did allude to the fact that it's possible to see a Zadorov to the Canucks trade possibly on the horizon. Now, I'm not sure how I feel about this. I'm not sure. It's not necessarily a perfect trade to be made. Now, number one, Zadorov got paid a lot in the offseason by the boss. I mean, I don't think that he is nearly worth what he got paid.
But it is kind of wild to see what guys like this or defensemen in general are getting paid. He got $5 million AAV from the Boston Bruins. I mean, I just simply don't think he's worth that. Now, when he played for the Canucks, I actually really, really liked him. Like, I don't mind him as a player, and I do still think that players of his ilk still have a lot of value. I think that physicality in the NHL is still a very important asset to have. But the biggest thing that it depends on how much you can play and how high up the lineup you have the ability to play as a defenseman, winger, center, or whatever. Obviously, goalies play against everybody. But what competition is Zadorov playing? And he doesn't really play that high in the lineup, unfortunately. Now, to be fair, though, in the Boston Bruins this year, he is playing about 19 minutes time on ice, and for the Canucks, he played about 18 minutes. So I guess you could say that he's a number 4. I would still prefer... I just think that he's overpaid. When I saw that contract right off of the bat, I was like, you could spend that money on somebody better, and it would make a lot more sense, in my opinion. Right? Like $5 million for that. Now, here's the thing. Are things going so bad in Boston that they would consider trading him? I don't really know. I mean, they just fired Montgomery. Are they ready for a complete rebuild in Boston? I don't know. And are they going to move on from a guy that they just signed this last offseason? I don't know. But again, my take is very simple. When you see a trusted insider like Friedman leak things like this out, you should probably pay attention to it.
Now, the Vancouver Canucks this year are a team that hasn't necessarily had the best year yet. Now, to be fair, that doesn't really mean that they're going to finish the season off bad. I mean, I just don't think that they've been all that great. I mean, Calgary right now, I believe, is still in a playoff position. I'll put the information up on the screen for you guys. They're in a playoff position, but will Calgary remain there? Like, you can see Vancouver getting into one of those playoff spots. I don't know about you guys, but I think Vancouver's probably still going to make the playoffs. And I do think it's true that they could use a defenseman with physicality and good ability to just play in his own zone, albeit that Zadorov does have his own limitations, if you understand what I mean. But he is a pretty good quality player. The funny thing is, when it was the offseason, when Zadorov was a UFA, I was actually hoping the Leafs would go get him. Now, this is the biggest problem with unrestricted free agency, is that a lot of players end up getting completely overpaid. And in my opinion, he's getting paid what, $5 million AAV. I personally think that Zadorov should be around $3 million AAV. I think that's much more fair for him. I mean, let's be real. Let's look at this trade as it is. The Boston Bruins, I mean, I doubt that they would even want to retain salary, but they would have to retain salary on this, let's be clear. Like, the Canucks are not going to take Zadorov on at like a $5 million cap hit. They would have to retain what, two? Like I just said, around $2 million to break it down to $3 million, and the Boston Bruins are just simply not going to do that, right? The thing about players like Nikita Zadorov is that essentially they quickly become fan favorites around the National Hockey League for whatever team they play with, because when you wear your heart on your sleeve, you play physical, you care. I'm sorry, fans just absolutely love that. And why wouldn't they, right? You even see it with the Leafs. I mean, it's something about a feisty Russian that people just love. And I do think that every team needs that. Nikita Grabenkin, for example. You just love to see these guys. Now, to be fair, though, the Vancouver Canucks did reportedly offer him, I believe, a 4-year times $4.6 million deal. They almost matched the AAV that the Boston Bruins offered him, right? So, I mean, it's not like they didn't actually try to keep Zadorov. So that could be a point against what I'm saying. Those were the rumors anyway, that they were legitimately trying to keep him. But alas, they were not able to. I mean, maybe they are interested with just slight salary retention. Perhaps this could actually happen. And then you run into the issue of, are the Vancouver Canucks going to want to give up a lot for him? I mean, if you don't have a lot of assets, you have assets, you want to keep them around to replenish your organization. But I very much doubt that they're going to want to give up a lot of assets, right? Like I always say, if you're going to pay for, and it's the same thing with my own team. I'm a Leafs fan, okay? I'm against the Ryan Reeves contract, the David Camps and all of this. You're already seeing that in Nikita Grabenkin and Fraser Minton or whoever could have completely replaced Camp anyway. It's the same thing here. You should really only spend money, like the big bucks, on top guys and then fill out the roster other ways. I mean, you're just he's a fringe number 4 guy. That's what he is. But he is just a fan favorite, so that's why people tend to like him. Anyways, that's just my 2 cents on this alleged trade rumor. Why don't you tell me what you think? If you could like, comment, and subscribe, I would appreciate it. And have a great day, guys. Goodbye.